What is up, you guys, and welcome to the RT Sidebar Podcast, your go-to source for respiratory care insights, education, and inspiration. As a co-host, I'm here to reshare the thought-provoking conversations, expert perspectives, and the latest in respiratory therapy. Whether you're a student, clinician, or just curious about the field, you are in the right place. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and join us as we dive into today's episode. Let's get started.
This is RT Sidebar. Stay tuned.
All right, everybody, welcome to
Let's
RT
go.
Sidebar.
Here we go.
Let's go. That's how we do it. We are here at AARC. It's going to be a phenomenal start. We have our friend Lori. We have JJ the RT.
Let's go.
I am so excited. We have Delaney. She doesn't like to be on camera, but she helped us get everything ready. And Lisa's here. Everyone's here. We got Alicia. Everyone is here. Here at AARC 2024 in Orlando.
Yeah.
And we get to start with Lori Tinkler.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I
Wow,
love
I'm
it.
the first one?
I am so excited. So, we're going to get started. Daniel Witt said just tough questions. So I'm going to hand it over to you, buddy.
Yeah.
Just tough questions. Let's get the party started.
So we are really excited about this. This is our, fifth time doing live with Lori, maybe sixth. I'm losing count, but this is
so
so
many. Very
much
nice.
fun whenever we get to do this. We always get to kind of highlight and promote some of the things that the NBRC has been doing. But today we're going to talk about some development stuff today, right? So one of the things that we were looking at is what are we doing to develop our students, to develop the new respiratory therapists, the seasoned respiratory therapists, our leaders, medical directors, more educators, things like that. So let's just kind of jump right in. What do you have right now that's going to help with our students?
So, as you know, we have invested $4 million in
$4
education.
million.
Yes, $4 million for scholarships for individuals who are pursuing degrees in respiratory care. And it will be for new students or current students, anything that the programs want to use that money for to recruit and retain. And so we are honored that we've been able to do that now for the second time. We did $2 million in 2022. We did $4 million this year. And it's not to say we won't do it again. We don't know when yet, but I'm sure we will. But I think it's helping. You know, anecdotally, I'm hearing that program cohorts are getting bigger. More people are getting into the profession. I think we've seen the bottom since COVID.
Right.
I think 2024 was the bottom, hopefully.
Sure.
And I think we're going to start to see this uptick. I'm hearing good numbers out of programs. I'm hearing good feedback from programs about what they're doing with these dollars to recruit and retain. So it's developing that next generation.
Yeah.
Right. So we're really honored that we've been able to do that and hope to continue to do that because that's what it starts with, right?
Absolutely. That's where we start. And Matt, you have a lot of conversations with people all over this country. And so what are you seeing that's helping to either bring in more students or develop the students while they're in school?
So let's talk about bringing them in first.
Yeah.
And big shout out to our friend Anna, because Anna teaches me about marketing. And this is about marketing. So when you're putting money out there, there's moreRTs.com. There's a conversation happening that wasn't happening before.
Right.
HOSA,
Yes,
big deal.
I was going to
Right.
say.
Big deal. And
Yes.
I want to hear more about it because I know
Yes.
you have the inside scoop. But when I'm around the country, I am starting to see more discussion about respiratory therapy. It's a conversation that kids are having going into the profession. Staying in the profession, a little tougher. Keeping people engaged, but that's what I'm seeing. But it gives me some hope.
Yes.
Hope I didn't have a year ago.
No.
I will be honest, I didn't have it a year ago.
No, but I think we're getting the name on the map, right? I
Yes.
think people are hearing more. And, everyone thought COVID would bring about the, household name of a respiratory therapist, but it really didn't. But I think some of the efforts that we've put forth in more RTs and what we're doing with HOSA, and we, in a general sense, obviously AARC is pursuing that initiative, but we've been helping behind the scenes, serving on the Workforce Recovery Task Force and things like that. and they're doing great things. So HOSA is the Health Occupation Student Association.
Yes.
I equate it with like the FFA or the DECA, if anybody knows what those things are, like the marketing club, DECA. You know, that's what HOSA is for health occupation students. And you're going to find those in middle schools and high schools and even technical community colleges.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's helping kids see that this is a career path. It's not just nursing. It's not just PT. It's not just the one, you know, the big ones that you always hear about. And so I think kids are seeing it, and they are physically seeing it. AARC, they're going to these meetings and they're taking visuals, they're taking pig lungs, or they're doing, you know, whatever it is, so that people can really see and touch and feel what's going on. So I think that's a huge initiative. It seems to be taking off really well.
Right.
Something else that we did, and it's on a small scale right now, but I'm really involved with the Heart Association in Kansas City, and they are a test market for a STEM event that they're doing on an annual basis. And so they're working with, in our area, the Urban Core of Kansas City. Last year they did it just with the Kansas City, Missouri Public Schools. But this year they're going to do it with Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools. And they're bringing in around 200 young women to learn about STEM careers.
Yeah.
Well, healthcare is a STEM career.
100%.
And so last year we were able to participate, and we did speed dating, speed networking.
Yeah.
And then we also had time to demonstrate and have one-on-one conversations with these young women about the opportunity to become a respiratory therapist and what that meant. And we did, you know, it was our first year doing it, wasn't sure how it was going to go. And one of the young women said, I'm going to be a respiratory therapist. And I'm like,
so
that
good.
made it
Yeah.
all worth it. Absolutely. But it's getting them exposed, and it's getting these kids maybe that are in underserved areas exposed to a career path. And so I think that's another great opportunity. And I think there are other markets for the Heart Association that are going to start doing these STEM events. I think they're in like 5 or 6 markets right now. But the more they can do that, and the more we can spread that word to our peers in other markets across the country, it's another great way to promote respiratory care.
It's marketing.
Yeah.
It's marketing,
matters.
yes.
It really does matter.
Yeah, so you know, those are all fantastic things that you guys are doing. You know, I can only speak to the area that I serve, right? In the Victoria, Texas area, you know, there are plenty of opportunities for all of those rural areas to come into like the city of Victoria to see what respiratory therapy does. So recently we had an event that brought in, it was over 200 students. And we had our students open up the lab, and they're showing them the mannequins, they're showing them mechanical ventilation, they're allowing them to intubate.
And that's so powerful because they're seeing it.
Yes.
Like they hear this, but they're like, what does that really mean? Like,
Right.
I don't know what that means. When you talk about respiratory care, they want to
100%.
see what you do.
It's too up here.
Right.
We always talk about Anna, our lovely friend Anna. Stories is marketing.
Yes.
So when they are with your students are telling their story
Right.
to those.
Yes.
That matters.
Right.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah, and that's right. And they get the opportunity, and what we challenge them to do is to find their replacement. They have to find somebody to fill the seat that they once occupied.
Yeah.
So they have to figure out how to market
Right.
the profession to continue to build what we've been growing.
Yeah, I was just at the student speed networking event. Had such a great time. Linda, our great friend Joe Lewis was at my
yeah.
table. The best of the best. I said, everybody at this table went to high school. Can you just go back to your high school and talk about respiratory? If everybody did that, just their high school,
Yeah.
this is not a problem anymore. And we have all the resources,
Yes.
right?
Yes, morerts.com has a ton of resources available. You know, the video testimonials, the practitioner stories, the patient stories, and all the kind of written materials, if you will, that programs can use to recruit, and even individuals can use to go and talk about what is respiratory therapy. So it's a great thing, and I think we've still have good momentum, and we're going to continue that momentum going forward now.
Right. And you guys have been doing kind of a special with your credentials right now, right?
We have. So we have a buy one, get one with our specialty credentials.
Yeah.
So you probably saw me over in the booth. I was like plugging it. Everyone's
I
laughing
love
at.
that.
They're like, Lori. I'm like, well, you got to market it, right? You've got to talk about it.
BOGO action?
So BOGO.
Nice.
So right now, if you apply as a first-time candidate for any of our specialty credentials, and you can take as many as you want as a first-time candidate, apply by December 31st. You have 90 days to take it. And if you are unsuccessful on that first attempt, you get a second chance for free on us, and you can take that second chance anytime in 2025.
PFT, here I come.
There you go. Just apply by December 31st.
There you go.
So, I mean, that's another way that you can start to create a spark for those new practitioners, right? We're kind of moving away from our students and what processes we put into place for those students. Now we're talking about what we can do for our practitioners that are already credentialed.
And it could be used as a retention tool, right? So a lot of institutions have career ladders or incentives. If you earn specialty credentials, we're going to increase your pay.
Yeah.
And I'll use the example of Vanderbilt University. They have been very proactive in getting all of their therapists to get the ACCS credential. And this may be, I'm pretty sure this is what Roger told me, but they pay them $8 more per hour. Yes.
$8.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. Unheard of, right? And they are so gracious, but they recognize all these individuals. Roger reaches out to me, I don't know, once every year, once every couple of years. How many ACCSs now reside in Tennessee? And then he'll cross-reference how many work at Vanderbilt, and it's the majority, but yes. And so there is, and I just had somebody else tell me, we finally instituted career ladders at my institution.
Yep.
Good, because that's what we need to do to incentivize people to earn the specialty credentials, and it shows their expertise. It shows they're willing to invest in their future too, right? By taking the exams, earning the credentials, doing what they need to maintain them. And so I think it's a great opportunity. So I think that's kind of a little bit of that retention piece that helps.
I think it's a huge piece. When I think of all the leaders in respiratory care, they don't just have RRT behind their name. They have extra degrees, they have extra credentials. Those are the people that are getting promoted because they're taking control of their own career.
Right.
That's fantastic. Yeah. But to have, you have the tools from the MDRC, the AARC, all those tools, but we need the directors to use the tools, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we need them to buy into it and know about these opportunities. And so even today, everyone that I've talked, they're like, oh, I need to take this back to my department. Yes, you do.
Yeah, that's big, is one, getting the word out there, right? Getting the word out there so that people know that these opportunities are available, and then taking that, and a lot of hospitals that I've worked at will even pay for you for your first attempt.
Yes.
So now they're actually paying for 2 attempts up until December 31st.
Right. So I wasn't going to do this, but shout out to my wife. So the ACCS is required at her place.
So has she taken it yet?
So okay. Oh yeah.
Right.
All of her therapists have it.
Okay.
But you get a freebie. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
We were just talking to Joe. Joe just said when people don't pass exams because they don't have the confidence to go into it. And some people aren't good test takers.
Wow.
But to get a freebie,
it's a no-risk proposition,
there you
right?
go.
I mean, why not? You're going to get
now, I guess, too. So PFT and ACCS.
Okay, apply by December 31st.
Wow.
There you go.
Don't put me to that. I have too much other studying to do right now.
But I've talked to so many people, and we have the asthma educator credential now under our umbrella, and that's a multidisciplinary exam. There were some pharmacists here today, and I'm like, you can take this exam.
Absolutely.
And they're like,
100%.
oh, yes, and yes, we will. And yes, we're going to take this back to the other 4 people that work with us, and we're going to have everybody signing up by December 31st, because why not?
I love that the AAC is multidisciplinary.
Yeah.
I love that so much because it brings everybody together with their own expertise. Oh, that's so good.
And we're going to really do some additional promotion around that with the other professions in 2025. We've integrated it now. It's part of the course of business for us, but we need to really engage with some of those other professions at their national meetings and get more people in the other professions interested in taking the exam. The majority of people that hold that credential are respiratory therapists.
Right.
But, there's like 15 different disciplines that are eligible. Physicians, pharmacists, PAs, nurse practitioners, EMTs, paramedics, speech-language pathologists, social workers, community workers, So we want to get out there to continue to build that interdisciplinary team.
So I probably should know this answer, but what other specialty credentials are multidisciplinary?
none of the NBRCs.
None of the MBRCs, but
Right.
like I know that the board certification in vascular access, I know that is multidisciplinary.
Uh-huh.
I just don't know how many others there are, because I think this is kind of unique, right?
I think that's pretty unique. Like there's a couple transport, like very one-off type things
Yes.
that's multidisciplinary, but it's very underutilized credential.
Yes.
I think it's innovative. I think it's the right thing to do, because the way I think about it, we're getting into case management.
Yeah.
Case management can get into this, and now we get stronger together.
Right.
I like that.
Right.
And you know, we're always talking about healthcare kind of being in silos, and this starts to break down those barriers, break down those walls, and it's just one way out of, you know, however many other processes that we can put together that helps to blend the families that, you know, are nursing, respiratory,
Yes.
physician, you know, PT, OT, pharmacy, and it's just amazing that
And help each other out and work together.
Yes.
Right? You don't want to work in silos. You don't want to be pointing fingers. We all need to work together, because at the end of the day, it's really about the patients.
absolutely.
And when you work together, you get better outcomes. Just
Yes.
period.
Yep.
Just period. So
Absolutely.
it's so amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Good things happening.
So, you know, we're continuing to kind of progress up. We started with our students. We're looking at those early practitioners, even our late practitioners. What are we doing for developing leaders?
So, big shout out to Gary Kaufman and some of his Lars people. Like we had
Yeah.
Lars in Pennsylvania, worked out really well. It's still a little too grassroots. Like I'd like to see it more. Joel Brown, I believe, is our leadership management section chair.
Right.
How do we support him? Like, because he knows his stuff. How do we support him to help leaders? How do we give them budgeting opportunities? You and I talked one time about a leadership exam, and then you told me how much it costs to make an exam. I'm like, yeah, well, hold on. But I'd like to see that as a goal someday.
That would be cool.
Well, and I think there's other organizations that AARC has gotten involved with, like the American College of Healthcare Executives,
Yeah.
and some other groups like that have that leadership content. And I also know Dana Evans has done kind of
She's a fellow.
a
too.
talk
Yeah.
around leadership, and specifically for directors and managers, and giving them some tools
Yeah.
to help them develop. But I think there's obviously more that can be done in that area, and we will continue to help however we can. And it's also building the educators of the future. So
Right.
leaders both at the bedside or in the hospital setting, but we need leaders and or individuals to get into education. How do we teach this next generation of student? Who's going to do it? Because just like we have people retiring from the bedside, we have people retiring out of education. And maybe at a little bit faster clip than we do from the bedside right now.
Probably.
The pool's shallower
Right.
there, right? So
Right.
it's hit harder.
But education's not just, I know a lot about respiratory therapy.
No.
No. Well, and so
No,
we
it's not.
and so we, and JJ's a good example of this, right? So we held a session at Summer Forum this last year. It was more RT educators. So just like we need more RTs at the bedside, we need more RT educators. And it was content around, you know, here I am at this point in my career, and I don't know that I'm wanting to continue at the bedside, but what else can I do to stay in the profession? And education is a great way. Or, you know, you're young, right? But you decided to get into education because you had a passion for that. But
Right.
you didn't go to school to be an educator.
No.
And so we heard a lot about that. We heard, you know, it's kind of see one, do one, teach one, right?
It is.
And how can we continue to give resources towards helping individuals who want to get into education at any level, whether that's a program director or a DCE or adjunct faculty or a clinical preceptor? There's
Yeah.
so many different ways that you can get involved in educating the next generation. So we want to help continue to build tools and resources for those individuals and show that there is a pathway to continue in respiratory care beyond the bedside. When your body's worn out and you're done being at the bedside, there's ways you can still stay
It happens to all
involved.
of us. You know, and I also think about hospital-based educators.
Yes, oh, for sure.
Hospital, like, shout out Kathy Brenner, who was my educator at my last job. She's been on the pod. She's fantastic. That's a whole nother animal.
Yes.
Because now you're educating to policy. You're educating to Joint Commission.
Right.
You're educating to a different crowd.
Yes.
But I love that we're thinking about this because people learn differently today than they did 10 years ago.
Right.
I think that's a testament to what you do, JJ. You try, like, you hate PowerPoint more than anybody I know, and I just gave a PowerPoint, which is hilarious. But kids learn different today.
Yeah.
Young adults learn different
Yes.
today. Matt Pavlichko learns different today. I'm on my phone. I see Joe Lewis.
Yeah.
I figure out.
Well,
I
I think
that's how we learn.
things are more visual now.
Very
You
much so.
cannot just get up and talk a bunch of words and and think that people are going to understand or be able to conceptualize what that means. So
Yeah, it's challenging. You're right. I am very anti PowerPoint, but I also for class have 100-slide PowerPoints. That's there for a resource because I'm going to draw and I'm going to write and I'm going to use
Right.
my voice and the board
and that
to
supplements
bring
those
it all together,
PowerPoints.
right? And the other piece too is I really enjoyed my role as a hospital educator. That was some of the most fun that I had in teaching. It's fantastic to be able to groom the next generation, but also to teach people to the policy and to best practices, really, to
Well,
best practices.
And I think you have a foundation too. You can be relatable. Like I've been at the bedside. I know, it gives you that credibility when you go then teach someone.
Agreed.
But it's those other things that you don't learn. It's the things you aren't formally educated to be a teacher. And I think those are the things that we want to try to help build resources for educators. How do I develop my curriculum? How do I talk to my administration about the needs I have for this, that, and the other?
Yeah.
How do I go garner equipment for my program? It's all the business aspect of education, if you will. And so I think we want to continue to build that and help
that.
talk about that. So we're going to hopefully present that same session we did at Summer Forum at Congress next year.
Okay.
We're going to do another session at Summer Forum in 2025 to continue to further support educators, what they need to know in their education programs to fulfill COARC requirements, how they can build out the best test for their classroom, test management, other things like that. Again, things that they need to know, but they might not know how to go about doing it.
We've talked about it before. Like one of my biggest things that I'm trying to grow in 25 is item writing.
Oh,
That
yes.
is so
and that will be a component of this too.
Right? And so if anybody's like, for the people that are listening and the people that are listening, like, is your team complete? Are there more people that can come and help develop and help build?
Absolutely. So we're always looking for item writers to contribute to our exams. So we have a volunteer link on the practitioner portal. You can put your name in there, indicate what you're interested in helping with.
Okay.
And then we'll send you some test items to write, like some content, like, hey, we'd like 2 questions in this content area. And that gives us a little flavor for how you write. And then we already have on our website, there's a webinar, it's a PowerPoint/webinar in our document library that talks about item writing, and it's basically item writing training, like how we want
like a
items,
tutorial.
yeah,
Nice.
how we
All right.
how we kind of require items to be written, and it walks you through the process. Dr. Shaw, who's our psychometrician, did it, and it's great, But that is going to be part of that session next summer too. Item writing is a huge piece of it. And so, developing individuals to know how to write items, not just for us and for the credentialing exams, but also for the credential maintenance program, for your own education programs. So there's already some resources out there, but we'll continue to build those out as well.
I'm remedial on that.
And we love to get people involved. So that's ways that you can get involved with the NBRC.
Yes.
So I would say like the lowest level, if you will, and I don't mean it low, but the entry level into being a volunteer with us is a social media ambassador.
Yep.
And that's a great way to get involved, whether you're a student or a practitioner or whomever. And then being an item writer. And then maybe serve on our credential maintenance panel. So they write the assessments for credential maintenance.
Yeah.
And then there may be an opportunity to become an examination committee consultant or a board member. You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
A very similar thing between an educator and a leader, they all write well.
Yes.
Good leaders, good educators write and articulate well.
Yeah.
I think that's a great skill. I'm going to sign up for it. I think just it might make me maybe a better writer. So that's awesome. I love to see that.
Well, and I think it also helps develop your volunteer skills. So I think that's another piece of this. So building leaders and building, the profession up, but we need people to volunteer. We need people to get involved at all levels. So whether that's with the NBRC as an item writer, or get involved with your state society, or get involved with the AARC, that's how we're going to build the next generation of leaders, because we need people to volunteer. Who's going to do, I don't know,
set all of this
who's
up.
going to do all this,
Absolutely.
right? Or who's going to be the next president of the Pennsylvania Society, or any of those kinds of things. And get in at the ground level. Just start volunteering, because this profession is still fairly young. But people
really is.
are retiring, and so we need those next generations to step up and move into those roles. And I know it's different today, right? People don't seem to volunteer as much, and I don't know why that is, but we need to encourage that, right?
Yeah.
We need to say, here's how you can get to here. You want to do that? Here's what you need to do. Here's how you need to get involved.
It's part of my curriculum.
Yes, volunteer.
Volunteering helps you move up the ladder. End of story.
Yes,
It just does.
100%.
It really does.
Yeah.
So the other thing that we wanted to talk about was medical directors, right? So I've had, yeah,
We were getting
Oh,
into
didn't know we were going down this path.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, we are.
I've had one medical director that taught me so much. I've had other medical directors that are super hands off. I have one now that comes into the classroom and has time set aside each week to speak to the students.
I love that.
And I love that too. How do we continue to develop the ones that are engaged with respiratory therapy versus the ones that are super hands off and signing off on whatever?
So something else that we've gotten involved with CHEST is to develop some curriculum around medical direction. So what is a medical director, both for a hospital department and an RT education program, because you need medical directors for both, two different roles, two different things. So we just sponsored a luncheon at the CHEST annual meeting in October to bring together individuals that either currently serve as medical directors or are interested in becoming medical directors. Because just like RTs are leaving the bedside or retiring or this or that, or educators, medical directors are doing the same thing. There's turnover. So where do we find the next generation of medical directors? How do we ensure that education programs and hospital departments have medical directors who are engaged? And so we sponsored this luncheon. There is a group inside of CHEST called the Respiratory Care Interest Group. So they are working to develop this content, and we're working kind of behind the scenes with them. And it's something we've been talking about for a long time, and I feel like it's finally gotten some momentum and growing some legs, and we're getting going with it. So David Vines and Kevin O'Neill, they are co-chairing that committee for CHEST, and this is a big initiative to create this medical director. It'll probably be like a modular web-based type of program, but it'll talk about all the different components of being a medical director and what it means, so that we can hopefully further engage existing ones and bring in new ones.
That's awesome. Because a lot of times, like at a hospital, you become the medical director of respiratory because you pull the short
By
straw.
default, yes,
Exactly
yes,
right.
exactly.
Because you are the
Because you
pulmonologist
are,
there.
or you're the last one in, right?
Exactly right.
Oh, that's your job.
But to focus on that, you know who else has medical directors? Everybody in industry.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of people around here
Who
that
could
we
use good?
but then they start to talk to each other.
Yes.
That's the power.
Exactly.
Because they network like we network.
Mm-hmm.
They can network. They're going to help each other out considerably.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we're excited about that. There used to be an association that was solely focused on medical directors and respiratory care, and they were kind of subsumed by CHEST a number of years ago. And I think it just, obviously hadn't been a priority, but I think now it's a priority again, and that's now with this respiratory care interest group inside of CHEST, there are enough people to help build that. So I think that'll be a great opportunity, and we'll continue to support that. Because we need physicians, whether they're medical directors or not, 9 times out of 10 they are, but we need physicians who serve on our board, who help write the test questions for the respiratory care exams. You know, AARC has a board of medical advisors. They need physicians who are involved in being medical directors.
Yeah.
And again, it's then talking to each other and saying, here's why I do it, and here's why you should do it.
I love that. I love that.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, we always do. We always
busy.
have so much fun with this. So one of the big takeaways, and something that we kind of talked about before, is from our keynote this morning, right? Is bad.
So describe it. Describe the keynote for the audience, because it was powerful.
The keynote was so powerful. So we had, I'm going to butcher his name, Jerome, what's his last name?
Adams.
Dr. Jerome Adams, our former Surgeon General, came and did our keynote, and he talked about how underserved areas are kind of at a disadvantage when it comes to healthcare. And we really don't truly have a healthcare system. We have a sick care system. But he had a phrase that really kind of stood out to me, and it said that bad processes will take down good people. Bad processes will take down good people. So what we're talking about here is really developing the right processes so that we can keep the good people and have good processes that may even develop bad people. So
Developing a good system, right? How do we continue to grow the system in a positive way?
Yes. And that's one of the things that, you know, when we talk about expanding ourselves, having a process that allows you to have further reach. You know, part of what I wanted to do to get into education was so that I could have more little minions like me thinking similarly at the bedside versus me being there just one individual. And I know that that impact can go a lot further now.
And I think mentoring plays into that a lot too.
Yeah.
And I know that AARC is doing a lot around that. I also think that the American College of Respiratory Therapy Education is getting ready to roll out. I probably shouldn't say it, but I'll say it. I think they're getting ready to roll out a mentor-mentee
Part of
program.
Me. Yeah, I'm part of them too.
I can say that, right? So I think there's, and it takes a village, right?
Yeah.
We're all working together to build out a better system, to ensure that this profession lives long into the future. Across the spectrum, from students to practitioners to educators to medical directors, getting everyone involved and sustaining that.
Yeah.
So to all the respiratory therapists that are out there and are, you know, struggling, short-staffed, I feel some hope. I feel some hope today that we are moving in the right direction. We're creating better processes.
Yeah.
That, like, stuff's being done.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it is.
Yeah.
I feel much better.
So one quick question and then one that may take a little bit of thought.
Okay.
But so in a mentor-mentee relationship, should the mentee pursue the mentor, or should the mentor say, hey, this is somebody, I see something in you, I want to develop you? Is this, like, how should that relationship start?
Is that the easy question or the hard one?
That's the easy one.
So I think there are two schools
Right.
of thought
I've
for
played
that,
both
right?
sides of this.
So what I have heard more recently is that the mentee should pursue the mentor.
Okay.
They're the ones looking for the ask. But if I'm the mentor and I see someone that has potential that I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, you just need, me to
Yeah.
help you a little bit here and there. Or I could give you some advice, or I could hook you up with the right person who can help you get to where you want to go.
Yes.
So I think it's both sides. It just depends on where you are in your journey, maybe a little bit too.
And that kind of goes to what Dr. Adams was saying too. It's not a true dichotomy. There's some truth too
It's a journey.
in the middle.
And it's easy because I'm getting older to say you should do it like I did. Get off my lawn. It's starting to happen. I feel like the mentee should go after the mentor. But all RTs can be a mentor in any way.
Right.
Hey, have you thought about this?
Yes.
Just pointing somebody in a little bit in a different direction is part of being a mentor. So I think that's a challenge, is be a mentor even in those little tiny spaces too.
You know, one of my favorites is John Maxwell. You guys know I love me some Maxwell, and one of his key terms that he uses is like it's not about leadership, it's about influence, right? And everybody can be an influence. You don't
Yes.
have to have the title,
Yes.
you don't have to have the position. It is simply being that person of influence. And that's a mentor, is having that moment to redirect or guide with influence. So I love that. So I love that I get the crotchety old get off my lawn. And I love the it can go either way. So I have more to think about. Thanks.
I'm okay with
And
that.
you can be influential even if you don't have, a leader title.
Exactly.
Everyone thinks a leader, it means whatever title you have. Well, that's not really true. I have individuals on my team that have no management responsibility, but they're leaders in their own right.
Right.
They step up and do things. They raise their hand. Oh, I can do that. Oh, I'll do that.
Yes.
That's what makes a leader in
Absolutely.
my mind. That's how I learned. And I will say, I don't think I was very intentional about saying, I want you to be my mentor, whoever it was.
Right.
It just happened, or they saw something in me and then it became this two-way street. But you learn what you want to be and what you don't want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could be a whole nother conversation.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying,
that'd be
I
a
think,
whole nother- yeah.
that could be a whole nother conversation. But it is about that influence that you develop and have. So I'm part of this group of women in Kansas City that we were called Women Who Mean Business. Well, we just changed our name to Women of Influence.
Oh, I love that.
Because, yes, we all are in business, but we're all making an impact in our community in a lot of different ways. And so that's influence, right? It's not because we have a leadership title in everything that we're doing in our community. Yes, we do in our job, but we're doing all these other things.
Every respiratory therapist is a leader in some capacity.
Yes.
They're at least leading their patients down the right path.
Yes.
So it's not a stretch.
No.
It's not a stretch. And I will tell you, being at the student, and they were right. Amanda Nickel said this. I think it was Amanda Nickel that said it. It might have been Linda. Somebody awesome said it. If you ask somebody to be a mentor, it's going to make their day.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to say no. They're just not going to say no. I know I did that once, and now I do a podcast.
Yeah.
So it matters.
And it's
Awesome.
rewarding to be a
It
mentor. I mean, it can be so fun, and then you see them go and thrive and do all these great things, and you're like, oh, I played some little small part in that.
It's so flattering. So, do you have another one?
You had a hard
Yeah,
question.
so we had one of our audience amenders, one of our audience attenders asked, this is Anita Respondic, I'm guessing. Shout out, Anita. We love you, girl.
Anita.
Oh, Anita.
Anita.
Hi,
yes.
Anita.
So she asked, how can we encourage hospital systems to initiate a mentor system?
Oh, a hospital system.
Yeah.
You know what I would do?
Call JD?
Call Memorial Hermann. Memorial Hermann has a neat residency program.
Oh, yeah.
So they have a mentor-mentee program. To me, it's process. If you build it, they will come.
Right.
You talked about process. If you're starting, hey, I want to be a mentor, or I want to be a mentee, that's not how put the process together.
Right.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last one, was there another one from the audience? Okay. The last one that I have, and this is for my own, just me, right? Because I get to do this, right? So one of the things that I want to develop is a professional points. I want to develop professional points that students are doing that are outside the norm of the classwork.
Yes.
And they can earn 10 points a semester or whatever, and they can put those 10 points to any of the combination of the classes that I teach.
Okay.
So just one idea. One idea.
Okay, I got to think
It's
about
like a student clinical ladder.
what could we
Yes.
do?
I'm gonna get some points.
Yes. So one idea. What could I have my students do that would earn professional points?
Listen to RP Sabbath.
Listen to her.
That's it.
Well, that's fun.
Okay. So RT sidebar.
I do think that volunteer
Yes.
in, I mean, they're not going to be able to do patient care, but I'm thinking about some things that are going on in my city, in Kansas City.
Okay.
And it really kind of goes back to what Dr. Adams was talking about this morning about health equity.
Yes.
But getting involved in an organization that's doing things to either help provide health care to homeless or in underserved areas if you can. We have this thing called Care Across the Boulevard, and it's all volunteer healthcare professionals who are helping provide healthcare to homeless people and then get them on their feet. And then there's another organization called Hope Heals, and they're doing things to like help retool people to get them jobs.
yeah.
But just to go and sit and have a conversation and help them think beyond their current situation. I don't know, volunteering like that, or volunteering for a STEM event, or starting a STEM event.
Yeah.
Going to a HOSA.
Yes,
thing.
go to a HOSA
absolutely.
activity.
There's so much to do, but RT Sidebar for sure.
But there's a lot. I
So,
mean, there are a ton of
I
things.
have I have several students that have severe asthma, right?
Oh.
So I'm thinking like, how could they work with an asthma educator credential to get more awareness to the credential, or like write a blog, or just something to continue to bring awareness to what's available.
Even like in the local schools with kids that have asthma.
So they have an asthma project that they have to do in my class. And they go and they speak to 4th and 5th graders.
Okay, good.
And they teach them about asthma. And I'm just, and that's great because it's an assignment that I give them.
Yeah.
If they didn't have that assignment, would they do that? And how could they continue to grow beyond the local, the local area?
There are some asthma camps.
Yep.
We've been asked before to, support those, and those sound really fun, where they bring a bunch of asthmatics together, like in Arizona. I know they have a big one there.
Yeah.
And you can volunteer and go and work with those patients, and I think that would be a blast.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've been asking serious
Yes.
Okay.
I thought I'd switch it up.
So, to finish off,
Yeah.
Lori Tinkley, MBRC, you're doing everything.
Well, I don't know that we're trying to do a lot.
You're doing
but-
everything. That's okay. What are you watching on Netflix right now?
Oh, wow. I'm not a huge TV watcher,
Okay.
honestly. I do need to get back, though. I'm The Diplomat, so the new season just came out.
There you go.
So I do need to start watching that. But I like to watch The Voice.
Okay.
But
Snoop?
we record it, and then we, binge watch for a few nights in a row. So I'm a little behind still, so when I get home, I got to catch up.
The Voice.
Yeah.
But I like The Voice.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
like The
I wouldn't
Voice,
have guessed that.
yeah.
I just need
Kind
to
of
know.
like that. So, yes, I like The Voice.
Oh, wait. That's
And I like to
awesome.
watch the Kansas City Chiefs play
Absolutely.
football.
Go Pat Mahomes, baby. Let's go.
Patrick! 1-5.
All right.
Former Texas Tech alum.
Yes, he
I
is.
know. All right.
Okay.
Wow,
And on
we all
that
love
note,
Patrick Mahomes. All right. So, well done, JJ.
Yeah, I
This
enjoyed
was
this. This is so
fun.
much
That
fun.
was a
thanks
good
for
one.
having me.
Awesome, yes.
Again, always a good time.
So, shout outs.
Shout
Let's
outs?
do shout outs.
Well, I always shout out to them, but my team over here,
Absolutely.
they set it all up. They've been running the booth here at AARC Congress, and lots of good engagement. We've seen so many folks already today on day one, and it's been great. So shout out to them and to my board who work diligently behind the scenes to make sure we have the best credentialing system.
Love that. Matt?
A couple of them are standing right here. So, Alicia.
Yeah.
Lovely
Yes,
wife.
love
Shout out to her.
Alicia.
We have Delaney, who handles everything for the AARC. One of our
Power stance.
one of our co-hosts, Mindy Conklin's
Miss
here,
Mindy,
getting ready with
woo!
Maria to do her podcast. So I just want to say shout out to everybody.
Oh, nice. Absolutely. I had a really good conversation with David
Lisa.
Vines earlier. Yes, and Lisa. I had a really good conversation with David Vines earlier, talking about getting people. How do you get to the path of being, an educator? How do you get on the path of being an APRT? How do you get on the path of being a director of a department?
Yep.
And so, just shout out to David Vines for having that
David's
conversation.
a great
earlier.
guy, and you just got to keep raising your hand, right? And you will get there. You will get involved in all those things.
Absolutely. Awesome.
So we always end this way. We always say, what do we always say at the end? We are going to stay tuned because that's what Anna tells us to say.
Yeah.
And we're going to roll the end clip right now. So Instagram. Thank you for joining us. Woo-hoo. Oh, the microphone. Alicia just said.
Directing.
Thank you, Instagram, for being with us. Lori, JJ.
Yes, sir.
It was good.
So fun.
So much fun. Thank you guys so much for joining in. Lori, thank you so much. Matt, thank you.
Vapotherm does not practice medicine or provide medical services or advice. Any clinical recommendations provided herein are solely those of the speaker. Practitioners should refer to the full indications for use and operating instructions of any products referenced before use. Pub Hitchco and Hayes are employees of Vapotherm. Butler is a paid consultant, and our guest is not compensated.
Thank you for tuning in to the RT Sidebar podcast. I hope you found today's episode as insightful and inspiring as I did. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Got questions, comments, or a topic you'd love to hear about? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep breathing easy, and I will see you in the next episode.